Okay, guys, sorry about that. I had set up StreamYard because I got my StreamYard set up for having access to different features, and then it said if you copy like the URL and the key, you can then use StreamYard. By pasting those in, you could, like, if you set the live stream up in YouTube, you could then put it into StreamYard, and you should be able to click go live, and it works. But then it didn't, so I had to go back into YouTube Studio, and then it had my camera and mic not enabled, so that was fun. And I had a second PC set up to read the chat, but now I'll just be able to read it here, so that'll be fine. And I'm sorry about that. So let me make sure that it's on live chat so I can see comments. And if everybody that was here stayed, then let me know if you can't hear me or anything. And I'll be answering questions at the end. But this was really just to update everybody on the new deadline, or the deadline, that the first one that we have, and then what that's about, what's going to be going on. And then after that, I wanted to talk about Machismo's channel, what he's going to be doing and what he's been doing and who's been on that channel and what they've been doing, which is interesting, in his comments section. Not something he's doing, because what he's doing is great. Also wanted to, the title of the live stream touched on something I was going to talk about related to the two kids. And I kind of touched on it in the last stream, but still been on my mind a little bit. And yeah, just to also answer some of your questions. And I'll show you some of that stuff too about what's prepared for the deadline, and not every detail or whatever, but just the general gist of what it's about. So yeah, we could start with me doing that. But yeah, I don't know if I can share my screen in YouTube when you do this through YouTube. Let me see. It looks like I can. So let me do that. Yep. Okay. So the one I want is this one. So I'm going to share this with you. So what I prepared, and this is due on the 21st, actual doc itself, but this is called, let me go back up to what it's called. This is just some notes, but the supplemental brief in support of the objection to the demurrer. So basically what we had was a demurrer. The judge was not satisfied that he understood all of her authorities and points. He needed more time. And basically what that means is he's looking at her, reasoning for rebutting my objection to her demurrer with her response to that. And he hadn't gone over all of that to know that he believed it was valid for kicking it out of court without dismissing it with prejudice. So, because if I go forward on any point, we litigate. So I asked if I could bring forward some new case law, and he said that I could. And so that's due on the 21st to be served to the attorney for YouTube, Google, and to the court, filed with the court. I'll file it Wednesday so that if there's any filing issues, it's done by Friday. And then they have a response that they're going to give by April 4th. And then we have our hearing at the very end of April, April 29th. So this case law is something I want you guys to be aware of, as these people are trolling. So I want you to kind of know what they're trolling about. So what case law is, also for anyone that doesn't know, it's, cases where the law is applicable in that case to your case. So let's look at this here. I have several cases here that I wanted to just kind of tell you what they're about and how they're similar to the Goatis situation. So United States versus ALO Holdings Group, U.S. versus Microsoft Corp, U.S. versus Sv3rige, People versus Revelos, Doe versus Twitter, Doe because that was a person having to hide their identity, Zango Inc. versus Kaspersky Lab Inc., Doe versus MySpace, and Gonzalez versus Google. So ALO Holdings, if you don't know, is the parent company for Pornhub, and MindGeek is also a part of that. Formerly was called MindGeek. So the parent company of Pornhub entered into a deferred prosecution agreement with the U.S. State's Attorney's Office in New York, and it had to do with engaging in unlawful monetary transactions involving sex trafficking proceeds, and where Microsoft had reported child endangerment to law enforcement, and because they detected illegal content involving child exploitation on that platform, and reported it to the authorities, leading to the arrest and prosecution of the individual responsible. And that's on the Department of Justice's website. So this ties into point 8 on my objection to the demurrer, where they cite that that they could never be held criminally liable for making money in scams or making money off of child exploitation promotion content, which is untrue. And this case is proof of that. They can even be held criminally liable like they were here. And the CEOs, some of them were individually both civilly sued, and they're still being there are still some cases being brought. So that's one thing, and that means the court should mandate the action, also because they already have reporting duties, just as this person did here. So the U.S. versus Sv3rige. So this has to do with someone charged with cyber terrorism, and it has to do with them stealing data belonging to service members, passing it to ISIS members who intended to use it to attack targets. And so the Department of Justice charged them with terrorism and hacking, and he was detained. So here's where this is a little bit similar to something. So, we have someone promoting terrorism and doxing people and sending people from one site to another to get home addresses, encouraging them to commit acts of terror. Well, giving him access to this platform, especially after he's already been banned to do activities like that, like with Prussian, for instance, suggesting that he's going to do things to people on behalf of the guy that amount to terroristic activity. Well, that right there is a bit similar. You don't give people access to anything in order to do something like that. Now, in this case, it's the actual computers themselves and hacking into information and getting data. But like I mentioned before with FTC law, the scams also tie into this, because when you give someone access to a platform to defraud other people, you have some responsibility there as well. So this kind of ties into both of those things, but there's some more specific law for that. San Bernardino murder for hire scheme. 5 men who were arrested in connection with a murder for hire involving the wife of one of the suspects. They used money transfers to evade arrest, and the tech company involved reported the suspicious activity, leading to arrest. I'm using this to prove that the tech company can report the suspicious activity leading to the arrest and has a duty to do so, especially if it's a situation where they're profiting off of that. Doe versus Twitter. Whoops. The court held that Twitter must enforce its terms of service consistently and fairly among all users. The ruling emphasized that tech companies can't selectively enforce their terms of service and must treat all users equally. So, of course, that ties into contract law. Like I was just saying, we're all contract holders here, and we can't do this stuff, so he can't either. It's kind of like if you look at housing discrimination as an example, if they say we don't rent to felons, but then they do have like 3 apartments being rented by felons, but you come along and you're a felon and they won't rent to you. Well, that's housing discrimination. Well, they have kicked people off of YouTube for far less, haven't they? For violating other things that are part of their terms of service. So this is a very extreme example of allowing someone to violate the terms of service, isn't it? So, yeah. And this one is Zango versus Kaspersky Lab. The tech companies must adhere to their terms of service. They can't arbitrarily change them without proper notice to users. And that highlights the importance of transparency and fairness in the enforcement of terms of service. Doe versus MySpace, and this is another issue. So the tech companies have a duty to report any threats to a child's life, including terroristic threats, to the appropriate authorities. This case emphasizes the responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of their users, especially minors. Now, so this is important because when you have 18 U.S. code, and I forget the section exactly without it in front of me, it starts with a 2, like 2335B or something, but that section of code says that the social media company, like I was telling you a lot of times before, can give out an IP address to law enforcement and can do all of those things once they believe someone has the threat of imminent death or harm hanging over their head, and they believe that then frees them up to go ahead and decide whether or not they want to give that info to law enforcement. They don't have to, though, under that part of law. But then we have other laws about children and about children being under the threat of some kind of terroristic harm. There's a specific law about that. And case law like this also emphasizes an example where they were deemed responsible to turn it in. So the more of that you find, the better. And that's a really good one. Solis versus Google LLC. Tech companies must take proactive measures to prevent and report content posing a threat to children's lives, including terroristic threats. And see, I have several that are specific to terrorism. And in our case, we have Goatis Lagston's having a Molotov cocktail thrown through a little boy's bedroom window. I can't think of anything more terroristic than that. So there you go. And it highlights the importance of tech companies' role in protecting children from online harm. And like I showed you before in my objection to the demo, all the specific law like the Protect Act and the Data Act and the ATA that are all about terrorism and protecting children. So they have a legal obligation to report threats to a child's life to the appropriate authorities. And then just to let you know about some of the exhibits, and I'll stop sharing my screen now for a sec. Get back over here. So yeah, just to let you know that we have some exhibits that I'm going to be sharing, anything that I haven't shared before, and namely, and that's another thing too, I'm going to make some new content here pretty soon because we're going to have a large gap between doing all this kind of heavy work, and I'm going to have some help as well. And also Telegram case, they have a while to respond, so I'll get a break on that. I'd like to show all of the media coverage to really reiterate, because we have trolls now doing this stuff where they're pretending that, you know, they haven't seen any evidence and nobody talks about the case and nobody's brought up Goatis, which is all untrue. This laws in the Netherlands are so ridiculous towards protecting perpetrators over victims that, you know, they do everything but name them, which is annoying. But when you read between the lines, there's literally no one else they could be talking about. So, and that we have far more evidence than that. But print media evidence we have, and it's interesting. And so that kind of could be compiled into something in a video, and some stuff I've been thinking about where he's concerned. But getting that in front of the judge and just anything else that he hasn't seen, there's going to be some good stuff in the exhibits, and I'm going to just put a video together on that so you can see it. The other thing I wanted to touch on was Machismo, so let me share that. Post from Machismo, share my screen again. And many of you guys may know about this, and I put it in my community tab as well. But he's going to be doing, oh yeah, this was funny. So this is like a health, you know, health and nature type of channel. He has like 10,000 and something subs. And he made this little chart of our criminals. And I thought it was pretty funny because it really is like this. And when you go to explain this case to someone, I mean, you know, you feel like you're drawing some goofy diagram like this. But so we've got Marina and Goatis, her boyfriend and girlfriend. But Marina has been married for years in a relationship with her husband, Elias. So Goatis claims he never heard of Elias. And then, even though we have him talking to Elias on an app, but whatever. So Elias claims Goatis got him to commit the crimes against his ex-girlfriend. There's Goatis' ex-girlfriend. The only person she's tied to in that scenario is Goatis. And then we have Elias and Marina committing 3 different assaults against Goatis' ex-girlfriend, even though they don't know each other. And so Goatis just has no involvement in anything, supposedly, even though he's the organizer of literally everything. So that was pretty funny. And then let me show you this other thing here. I'll hit share again so that I can share that one too. And I want to show you some of the troll comments. Hi, GrindKing88. Nice to see someone here. I know I picked a really bad time of day. I thought I was going to be doing something else. I could have actually done this at 8, but it's okay. So let's see. We've got Sv3rige Goatis tab. Yeah, that's the one I want. And I'll share this with you. Alrighty, so right here, here's his channel. Let me get up here. So this is his channel. And let me get his handle here. Well, here we go. I wanted to look at the comments, but he basically talks about how he knew for years back there that he, you know, observing Goatis, just like myself and a lot of other people, he knew that something was going to go on with the guy. And so now it has. And so he, I think he said something in the past, and he now has made a couple of videos, a short, and this one. He's going to do a video on, I believe it's the 23rd. So please go check that out. And let's look here at these comments, because trolls are in full force. So here's Diane right here. And she lays it out that he, of course, had scams about claiming also that his problem with his ex was not getting to see his child, which was made up, so that his followers would hate her. And then the later attacks, he would have a reason. And as if anybody even thinks, you know, you do this thing called going to court, which he never did. No matter how much money he got, he's never petitioned the court to see. Fascinating. So yeah, you don't get to go throw acid on people and beat them under the false pretense of pretending you were never allowed to see your child. But the fact that some people would think that even if you weren't, that would make sense is crazy. But nonetheless, Elias, he lived in Germany, but he was actually from Kosovo. And, you know, Marina's from Kazakhstan and lived with him. And the oldest daughter is from a completely different man. And, you know, think about that, Goatis fans. And this like premiere video that he's going to do, Machismo, is going to be basically to address any actual fans. But most of the people, I think, trolling his comment section are not fans. They are the sock puppets of Prussian and Gaddis, in my opinion. But especially after I posted it on my community tab, I think that's when Prussian went over here and he specifically addressed me with verbiage right from his blog. So I'll show you that in a sec. But any fans that actually believe that they're traditionalists and just maybe being lied on or maligned online, that will be good if they watch this and see otherwise. Because that does occur, you know, on social media. But that's not what's occurring here. So Ilias admitted in court that Gaddis gave him and Angelina the order paid to do it. He's now in jail. And they're trying to portray him as a victim to lower his sentencing, absolutely, which is you can see from the conversations that Ilias had with Gaddis that this was a bunch of criminals. He was not intimidated at all into doing this. They willingly did it, and even were when they were attacking her. So they were pretty gleeful in doing it, which is even more terrifying. And then they had Marina actually testifying for her husband. You know, it's insane. So there's her comment. And so down here, this is who I believe to be Prussian. So right after I posted Machismo's thing on my community tab, and I ban any of this from my channel. I'll answer it sometimes, but then it gets banned. So here we've got him saying, Goatis, 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 Goatis the goat. Like him or hate him, everyone deserves a channel. That's his verbiage. He says that all the time. Everyone deserves a channel. There's only one person said something that's stupid, and it's Prussian Society of Insane Asylum Dwellers. He's too fascinating and unconventionally entertaining to remove. Yeah, one of God's own prototypes. This sounds like him. A high-powered mutant of some kind, never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, too rare to die. Yeah. And then he told him, Machismo Fitness, you should check an insane asylum. They are mass-produced over there. Yeah, we still don't have enough, though, Machismo. We really don't. And Diane addressing some more stuff. And then here's this stuff about the warrant. You know, this guy pretending that he's not aware of the warrant. Well, we have the warrant even with the file number on it. And you can always talk to the court in Middleburg or in Offenburg and get your very own copy of the warrant if you so desire, which is what I told that person. But let me see if I've got where we have Prussian again going nuts. Alrighty, here. So it's thank you for making the video. And see, 9 days ago I said that, but after I posted it on my community tab where Prussian stalks, here he comes 1 day ago. So, duh. But anyway, I put thanks for making the video, mentioning my channel, and then we're trying to get his info turned over and deplatforming him. So yeah, that was cool. Machismo mentioned the case, so that means he's aware of it, which is nice, and making others aware, which I appreciate. So here he goes. No one should be deplatformed, as in removed from these sites. No matter how much people don't like what someone says, everyone should be allowed to have a voice and post videos. Yeah, that's not how it works. If you, as far as First Amendment rights go, and the terms of service, if you're not violating the private company's terms of service, and you do have certain free speech rights, sure. Crime is not one of them. Promoting child sex abuse, for example, is not one of them. And the terms of service contracts. And we got into a fight here later where I said that, and then he tried to argue back that there's, you know, no such issue with terms of service, but there are. Anyway, I then called it out for what it is, and then he says here, so-called crimes. Now this is really telling. So-called crimes are invented by people in power who want to control people in certain ways. Right or wrong, what someone does outside of social media should never affect it. Well, that's wrong, and also you spelled affect wrong, because if it's affecting something, it's the other way. But anyway, so what someone does out with social media is stupid. So he's raising money on social media, and he's using it to evade arrest, and they're aware. And it has to do with terroristic threatening the life of a child. And with that money being raised for purposes other than what are stated, which makes it a scam, which means users are being defrauded, which the platform can be held liable for. So, you know, that's not how that works. Anyway, like the way they remove killers' channels, they don't like in removing them and is wrong. You know, this is the type of talk they do. They have a whole philosophy about believing that there's no such thing as crime. And, you know, you could entertain that for a moment, and you could say, you know, sometimes what the law thinks is wrong isn't as wrong as other things that are wrong. There might be some truth to that. But, you know, let's see. Let's look at what kind of crime we're talking about. Promoting harming your own child sexually, or promoting murdering your own child or your ex-girlfriend because she just didn't want to be with you. most of society is on the page of believing that we don't want to live in a world where that's okay. I can't think of any animal in nature that does any of that and says, yay, this is great. So in actuality, that would be the person that would be, cast out of the tribe because they're too problematic to be in the tribe. So you're not even speaking nature talk here. And I really don't feel like going through all this, but you get the point. That's, I'll stop. But yeah, please check that out on the 23rd and go over and subscribe to his channel. Sorry, that's my clock, but I'll be doing that as well. I'll make sure to be there. He'll probably be trolled really bad. You only see a black screen, Jake? Really? Damn it. Well, let me see. Okay. Well, that's weird. When I play this back, there's no telling what'll be showing up. Can you guys hear me or what? Like, what is going on? Because I don't know. It says live from my end. Looks like we can't see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Who are you calling jealous? Oh, okay. Oh, you can see me. Okay. Yeah, I will work on getting more technologically up to snuff here. So, and this wasn't going to be a big major stream, but I appreciate everybody being here, and hopefully, so I guess you couldn't see the stuff that I was showing when I was sharing my screen. That's what I was probably doing wrong. Sorry about that. But yeah, on the at Machismo Fitness, we have Prussian leaving his remarks. So just to be aware, they'll probably go troll that premiere video, the chat going on, and most of those people won't be legit Goatis fans. So in a weird way, it'll showcase the kind of insanity maybe for some of those actual Goatis fans who don't know what's going on. Okay, I see what you're saying, Jake. Yeah, you couldn't see them. Gotcha. So I don't think I have any more stuff to share on the screen, so that'll be good. So anyways, so yeah, just that. And then what I'll be doing, I'm going to make some of those kinds of videos. I'll be there for that premiere video of Machismo's. And so, yeah, similar to Prussian's ideas. So if y'all could hear what I was saying about that, his idea that you have a right to a YouTube channel is fascinating to me because you also don't have a right to be a parent. And that was just something I wanted to conclude with saying, and then I'll answer any questions y'all have about the case or anything. But yeah, being a parent is a blessing and a privilege, just like being in society is in a way a privilege. We don't have to let people do just whatever they want. And I'm a very live and let live person, and I think most normal people are. I don't care what other people are doing if they're not doing any harm. But even if it's your own child, that child first, as far as most decent society is considering it, is an individual. So they're an individual with rights, and your rights as their parent don't supersede the rights of that individual, is what most well-functioning societies have decided. So Goatis Lactions forfeited the right to be a parent to that child the day that he decided he hated him and wanted to harm him. And yeah, so also this idea of like him being genetically this nasty stuff, and some of it, these are the very same people, Prussian and Goatis and Kathy and these trolls that speak a certain way. It's them. There are very few people out here in society saying this stuff, but I do actually sometimes see like nice, normal people saying some stuff like this, not in that kind of nasty way at Diane or at anybody like that. But, they think that this child is somehow going to be, problematic or be like Goatis or something. And there's no reason to assume that, like, just to put it in funny terms, don't we all have like a crazy Uncle Larry, maybe not a Larry, whatever his name is, but everybody has somebody in their family that you look at and you think, can't believe I'm related to that guy. And it can even be your own parent. And your parent can be an outlier. They can have terrible things wrong with them. Something can happen to someone, physically or mentally, that has nothing to do with their offspring, carrying that on and having those traits. So, we care about the kids as individuals, and we give them a chance to have their own kind of life free from abuse. So I think that goes without saying, and with the little girl as well. Marina, no telling what happened to her in her life to make her the kind of mother that she is, but the baby's still just a baby. So that child also has individual rights. And even in a place like Kazakhstan or wherever the hell they are, Kazakhstan has just passed special laws about children's rights. So, these entities, and I've been really pissed off about how I can't get these entities on board with doing their job. So being a third party in America and trying to get law enforcement entities that deal with terrorism or child abuse to respond to you, they don't really have to. And that makes it really challenging, you know. And so if you file a complaint, they do have to, but then like if they don't, it's really hard to go through the avenues when you don't live there and you don't speak the language to battle them. And I'm already doing this, so it gets to be a bit too much. But you know, down the line, as this winds down, I think something will happen. But if it doesn't, then some of this other stuff can eventually be done. Really, the stuff with the crypto exchange, keeping them from earning money, is going to be the key, and using these things to track them, because they can't live without money. They're not exactly wild bushmen or anything. So yeah, getting them stopped from draining Annette's funds, from being online, raising money and running scams, and the people that are helping them do it being held accountable for it and being afraid about that will help. And then the other end of it is law enforcement being held accountable to do their job. So yeah, that's where we are on things. So the 21st, that will be filed, and they'll give a response, and I'll see what that is, and we'll go from there. And I'll get a nice big break from looking at these people. But it looks like we've got some nice cutie garden, I can imagine. Wonderful comments from hell, probably. So yeah, if anybody has any, yeah, not everybody turns out like their parents. So if anybody has any questions, that is literally all I had to share with you. I will make some videos with some content though, to share with you some things along the way. And I'll do a live stream when we get somewhere on the stuff that's going to be going on in court. So yeah, ban Cutie Garden for having a weird username. But what are they saying? Let me see. I don't doubt that it's, the username gives me vibes too. Agreeing with the mob is just slave mentality, zombie, well-functioning society. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is some Prussian shit. Well-functioning societies, meaning, you know, yeah, we have a screwed up society. Like, I mean, we have pedophile bait all over the TV. That's what I think is screwed up about our society, not our laws to protect children, you know. And by the way, like even animals, bees actually get together and they have like a democracy where they make decisions collectively. And if certain people don't agree, they don't do that thing. Bees. So, you know, these things that Gaddis says to people about law, like law isn't natural, even freaking bees get together and have a system they use to decide things that's good for all the bees. So bees are superior to you. So there you go. They had abuse in quotes. Yeah, like it's not child abuse to get sexual with your own child. Well, let's look at that. We should. That gives me something to talk about. So let's look at the Children of God as an example. That cult. Some of those kids were born into that cult. Isn't it funny how every single one of them that was sexually abused had mental problems from that? Nobody that's sexually abused seems to like it. They turn out very disturbed about it, even if they've been told their entire life that it's right. They internally know that it's not. So that thing called instinct. And that's what's so funny, you know, Gaddis seems to believe we should run on instinct. We should, and our instinct tells us that this is sick, unless your instincts are askew because there's something super wrong with you, like in his case. So, Pencil Master, you are mind controlled. The laws are not to protect. So Pencil Master can go. I'll assist with you. You're not to protect anyone, you fool. They create the black market for the elite. Yeah, the laws, there are laws that are used to protect the elite, and there are laws that are used to protect people. So just because the laws are manipulated by bad people, my thing is moving. I can't get rid of this. It's moving too fast. My computer is super slow too. I've got way too much stuff on it, and that's part of the problem. And I will not be reading any more of your crap. You're being hidden on my channel. Bye-bye. Emily advertised this stream well in advance, so Prussian and Gaddis are probably watching. Absolutely, that's Prussian. I think Gaddis does the more straightforward, I just don't see any evidence things, and then all of the weird sexual worshiping Goatis ones are Prussian. You know, I couldn't even believe that Prussian was a real person until, you know, somebody said, no, we saw the guy, he's a real person, because that would just have to be... you know, nobody but a psychopath talking about themselves would write that way, you would hope. But there's a second one, and he really does write that way. LOL, a witch. Yeah. Okay, Lolly Love. Okay, Lolly Love. Yeah, I've got nothing but trolls in here, and then my awesome mods, and then these trolls. So Yeah, you got to go, Lolly Love. Laws are not manipulated by bad people. They're created by bad people. Odiate. Thank you. You're hidden as well. So yeah, I'm an odiate. But I'll tell you, laws are manipulated by bad people, or created sometimes by bad people with bad intent, or they're altered by bad people with bad intent. And then there's always good people with good intent who are in there fighting to change that situation. So, but no, like I said, all animals have laws. You know, just like, it's kind of funny. You want to believe that you don't have laws, but you have a law in your brain that you want to be able to do whatever you want to whomever you want when you get mad. Like to Diane, for example. She displeased you by leaving you, so you get to do whatever you want to her. That's a law in a way, if you were going to make lawlessness the law, you know, like, but then when you want somebody to stop somebody from taking your YouTube channel down, because that's such a hard thing. Nobody should do something like that. We can't have these kinds of laws. It's insanity. So you want there to be like a world where you can do whatever you want to anyone you want, but then they can't do it to you. Somebody called the law on her. She's trying to stop me from having a YouTube channel where I raise money to hide a child, sexually abuse it, and try to kill the other one. Isn't she terrible? Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't understand how Prussian could be a real person. No, I don't either. Flat Hawaiian pizza. Yes, I corrected you and you admitted they're created by bad people. Good. You have a lot of accounts. So this shows that it's the same writing, same guy, same shit. And you on your blog wanted to say that it was just you, or that it was not just you. It was like that Goatis just has all these fans that use the exact same verbiage. Yeah. Let's get rid of you, Flat Hawaiian pizza. Nope. I admitted nothing. I said there are some bad laws created by bad people. And what I mean by that, you wouldn't know because you don't know the first thing about law. You showed that on your ignorant writing on your blog. But laws, like for instance, when the elite create loopholes for corporations, that's bad. Law itself is not bad, not at all. Like I said, law is a father wanting to protect their family, for example. That's why we have, guns for when they're useful, but we don't have guns to just decide. I got mad one day at Walmart and I, decided I was going to go shoot somebody. That's not why we have guns, but we have guns for if we need to protect our family from bad people, so, of course, people have different opinions about all that, but, like we want to be able to, so we decide when can you do this and when can't you? When does it make sense, because there's all kinds of different scenarios. And that's why there's so many things you look up when you're looking up law about a specific situation and you're applying it to that. But like corporations are creating situations where they can get away with things. And then you have people coming in saying, no, we need to alter this for these certain set of circumstances. And then other situations where something's too heavy-handed and then you want to come in and say, you can't apply that to everybody that way because what about this and what about this? So, law is like anything. It's all about application and who has control of, who's dominating that landscape and whether they are good or bad people and what their intentions are can change that landscape very much. Oh, wow. Now we're calling ourselves pedophilic names. Bald P word. Same verbiage. Yeah, you're another stock account. And why would you need bald P word? I mean, I know you can't get it on with anybody that's not, your family tree doesn't fork and that's all you can get is something you can catch that can't get away from you maybe, but that's your problem. And it's not something that we want to see legalized anytime soon. So anyway, Prussian hates his mommy because she doesn't bring him Hot Pockets quickly enough. Indeed. And that's their smear for everybody else. Everybody else, is some kind of loser. And yet you look at their life and it just screams loser. Look at Goatis. This will make Prussian really angry because, he wants Goatis to be the greatest human that ever lived. But in reality, Goatis is somebody who was very lucky to copy what Milk Jar did, which was to make the vegan videos, the ex-vegan interview videos, and to create a following on YouTube, and then, making like a homemade business like that, that's really cool, and then to have a beautiful girlfriend who loves you, who gave you a healthy son, great friends that also really respect and admire you. He destroyed every bit of that. And it was all everybody else's fault, of course. And then in true loser fashion, he goes and he takes up with the only kind of people who, once they could see all that abuse that he was doing towards everyone, liked him still. People like Catherine, people like Jazz, even though they were mutually using each other, like him and Jazz. They ended up he ended up not even having them around, because even scumbags can only stand so much abuse. And then you have him getting with a woman from a website because he can't stand to be alone for 5 minutes, who is just a criminal, who's basically a hired criminal. And because she's such a lowlife and they're both stupid, everything they did was so dumb that we have all of this evidence against them. And if it weren't for such a weird situation in Europe, with it being so hard to nab people, because it's almost like the countries there work against their citizens, because they care more about being ingratiating to the feelings of perpetrators than victims, then they've bungled everything that they've done. So it would be if they weren't evading arrest and having this help financially, they would be caught really quickly. And so that's why we're doing this. So okay, Jake says, Prussian has no life, and that is a fact. I take vacations and go places and do things while also being a pro YouTuber. Prussian obsessively watches another man and rides his D all day long. Absolutely. And I didn't even realize till reading that crap he wrote about me how obsessively he watches my page. He's refrained from writing about me on it because he knows that's part of the court case and the file on him now. And he's helped a lot with the case against his hero, because he's got Goatis has a FBI file now. Because of the fact that he's raising money for terroristic crime on an American platform. And now they know about Prussian's threats against Sarah Norman and against all supporters of Diane, which, by the way, just so people know, please do support Diane on GoFundMe and on Patreon. Prussian was going to try, and this shows the extreme insanity, to match donations and information like usernames and stuff on the GoFundMe with anyone that visits his blog, if he can get their IP and then get a location. Then he made it clear that he wanted to do things to them and their whole family for their grave mistake. And writing that openly shows insanity and stupidity. And so to be that wrapped up in the guy as he is, he was writing about my channel, like he's been leaving comments trying to make trouble on my channel since I had the channel. So these posts he made were about really old videos and about people making comments. So the only way he would have seen that is to have been all along there. And I always thought, I knew that was a troll, but now I know it was him. Because he verbatim said what they said, that they were talking about doing something to Goatis and Marina's child. And that was him trying to have a troll comment that made it look like my fans would say something like that. As soon as I saw that comment way back there, I said, we're not anybody going to say anything about, we hate them and we hope something happens to their child. That kind of talk is not welcome here. So he knew what he was doing. And very recently he did the let's pretend to be Goatis post on my page, imposter thing. So he wants to make it look like people are impersonating these criminals when nobody is. Parody is allowed under Section 107 and fair use rules of YouTube. And it's very different than pretending to be people like Goatis did. Goatis pretended to be Diane on Flat Chest Luna, and of course most people wouldn't call a channel about themselves something like that, would they? And he made several other Luna channels and uploaded private videos, doxed her whole family, doxed her, and all of these kinds of things. And same thing with Catherine, pretending to be Catherine. So that actually is just projecting, classic projecting. They do the very things they're claiming other people are doing. CP Master, you gaslight, claiming men can't get P word, you sick freak. What the hell? So this is just another thing they do. So that's another perverted troll, which is them. There's not that many of these people, but this is Prussian or, whoops, how did I not get that off? Like I said, my computer's on a delay, and I'm having trouble getting rid of these scumbags. There we go. Okay. So that filth there is something else to address. This is really like unnerving that they're doing this because I made an advanced awareness that I would be streaming. So one thing Goatis likes to do is shock and disturb people, and Prussian likes to too. And like a malignant narcissism, what they like to do is they get off on, and it makes them feel powerful. Because let's be real, Goatis couldn't step up to a man who was threatening him and do anything to fight back. We saw that when somebody was protecting Diane and hit him on the hand, and he's running away like a bitch. So they can't really defend anyone around them or themselves in a real situation of life and death. They don't have any brevity in a situation like that. So what can they do? They can get in front of a bunch of vegans and eat a raw pig head and make them sit, make them get mad, dare them to touch me, And even at that, he got a bucket of paint dumped on his head. And other situations where, they can, say something filthy like that, and they think that it'll just like make me sick and, ooh, look what I did to you today. And that's how they feel powerful. But they don't, like Prussian, they never show their face. They never brave up. They wouldn't file a court case about any of this, They wouldn't go and, speak directly to you about any of this. It's all under these hidden nasty sock accounts with these filthy perverted avatars and just getting off on the idea of somebody being disturbed. And the kind of people they like to disturb are people that they think couldn't physically take care of themselves as well. So, yeah, I know that your attempt to horrify and disgust is kind of how you feel like a big man. But in real life, Prussian, as we know, there was a woman on one of his blog posts blocking a menu with her arm. And he wrote like several pages ranting about how that ruined his entire day. But he never asked her to move because that would be too difficult. And I'm not joking. That's on his blog. Women are horrible and you're going to kill them all, but you can't even ask them to move over when they're blocking something. Got it. And yeah, it's just sick filth. And and that's what we're combating. This is literally evil. This is literally pure evil. And if you don't stand up to it, look at what would have happened. I remember going back some months, and Jake was the only one doing this for so long. And then a lot of other people came on with their smaller parody accounts, unleashing more and more info. And then I didn't even know about Marina until Diane was talking about stuff. And so that was my angle of being someone to get other stuff out, because I wanted to get people to file suits for the scams they were victimized in, to try to get the IP addresses and do other types of activism like that. I didn't even think up this case for a while. So then when none of that worked, when the cybercrime complaint forms didn't work, then I did this. And the goal is to not let people like that win. I remember that, and now he's calling me a scumbag with his next sock puppet account. They just want to flood your live stream with goofy pro pedo shit. Yeah, absolutely. The minute I see what you are, you're hidden, sweetie. Okay. And if my computer will speed up enough to let me help do it. And thank you very much, mods. Okay. So what was I talking about? So like Diane, I remember many months ago in the summertime, when she was first coming out, the brevity it took, because this was going on towards her constantly. And, very few people were, even knowing all the details of the case. So as more videos were being made and more information was getting out there, then people were, really aware. And then they wanted to really amp it up, like having Catherine come back to combat the stuff that I was putting on my videos, and having them really amp up their efforts to smear her with their new smears and confuse. Chaos and confusion, that's the name of their game, because they can't directly, like what I'm doing, show you exactly what someone's done and exactly how the law is applied and exactly what you're going to do about it. No, they would prefer to make a big chaotic scene where a bunch of ruckus is going on and they're throwing out allegations and you're confused. You don't know what you think is even going on by the time they're done. And that's another thing, like Jasmine and her gaslighting that she did in her videos, where she'd say something truthful about Goatis and then throw in some smears about Diane in there, diminish her role and lie about some of the stuff she actually did in there, then tell a little more truth, stuff like that to obfuscate truth. And of course, Prussian's too crazy to do a calculated, cunning thing like that. But nonetheless, their goal was to create so much chaos and so much abuse and just so much duress on the victim and on anyone supporting her, that people would just either be confused or be disgusted and walk away from even trying to combat it. And instead, what happened, and I just got rid of another one, is that Diane had people like myself and growing numbers of people, starting with Jake and then building off of that. And then you had the Ghost of James Uganda, Acid for My Valentine, and all these other creators, myself later. And we rallied around her, and we made her understand that we understand and that we want to do something. And she got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And she seems to be her strongest self, as I've seen, with her writing and her ability also now to have, it's almost like having a scab on a wound. Like these people are trying to thump her wound and it's like scabbed over. Like she's like, yeah, I've seen this shit before. And it's not making me like feel anything other than I know what you are. And I know everybody else around me does too. So that is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to see. And by the way, that goes along with like the community thing that I was saying about bees and animals. When you rally around what you want. So what do we want in our world? Do we want them? Do we want them terrorizing and intimidating other people? Is that what the freedom on social media is about? Flat plain pizza, no victim, she was happy. Young, okay, look at this. Lots of girls get pregnant young. It's called natural and normal. Yeah, but not when they're your daughter. Let me get you out of here. And of course, that's supposed to change what we're talking about and disgust and horrify and shock and cause chaos and pretend you're not talking about what you're really talking about. This is all really just sick bullshit. And at this point, most people in the world, once you reach adulthood, you've seen some modicum of people doing this kind of behavior. We do live in such a sick world that most of us have, and we don't like it. So, the idea that you're going to fool anyone who's not extremely naive and unworldly, you're not. But anyway, do we want a world where we pretend, and this is what the company is doing against me, do we pretend that these people should hide behind Section 230 and free speech laws and get to do things like this? Or do we want to have our free speech laws be for actually discussing things like the way that you'd be taken off of YouTube for talking about the jab, the way you'd be taken off of a certain way, a way that they don't approve of? Or talking about anything that people want to talk about, the shape of the earth or anything else, all these disclaimers under videos like that. And then you have Goatis Lagston's on his April 2023 live stream. It's still available, talking about in code buying bicycles to ride and ride and ride. And he prefers the ones that are so young that like 1 and 2 year old bicycles, they're the safest because, they can't tell. I want the world where you can like look at issues any way you want and really have free, open discussions, and where people doing criminality that the collective decide is the kind we don't want, where we put a stop to things like that. And we don't allow people to victimize others. There's no freedom when you allow something to be used that way, where we're browbeating victims and then we actually are shutting down speech in other areas. So we're the ones having our speech shut down. These people trolling this chat. I'd like to really make that clear. Imagine making videos about, and here we got another one, Goy, destroyer, slave, scum. I'm extremely this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And you're extremely going away. And you've helped me come up with a lot to talk about. Keep up the sock. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry, Jack. I undid your message. Let me see if I can undoing it. The guy above you, so I wanted to, let me see, unhide user on this channel. Did I hide you or did I get rid of your post? There we go. Sorry, Jake. I think I hid you. I meant to hide the guy above you. Let me hide him. Lord. Hide. What the hell? Okay, there we go. That should do it. Let me make sure that I unhid Jake. There you go. Sorry. Okay, yeah. My thing is slow, and it made me hit the wrong person. So here's the point I was making, if I can remember. Let me see what he said, because I think that'll jar my memory. Yeah, bitter and twisted. Okay. Yeah, sure. I sure am. No, I had 20 defamation complaints. When Ilias's trial happened, and he was tried in the Netherlands, and they were going to have Netherlands media, print something about it. They went so far as to go to an attorney, lie about their location, which you can do, and get cease and desist letters. Myself and the ghost of James Uganda, we wrote to that attorney, and I wrote to that attorney giving them all of my info. And I said, look, you better not share my info with the fugitives, and let me give you all of these examples of their crimes. This is what they're wanted for. And if you assist in any way upon me telling you this, you are committing a crime and you could be disbarred. And that is absolutely a fact. And so I don't know what that lawyer ever did with them. But if you file a legal complaint with YouTube about your own content, they can uphold it or not. Now, if you get a lawyer to write one to them, they're more likely to take it seriously. And in the Netherlands, there are some, like I said, there's like special laws about ruining people's reputations and it affecting their livelihood. So they did not give me any community guideline strikes or anything like that, but they did take the content down in the Netherlands, not anywhere else. And so it shows you they were focused on the Netherlands so they could take advantage of that special law. And that's why special laws protecting scum are a problem. Those are the actual bad laws, because in reality, people have the right to be innocent until proven guilty, but you don't have the right to evade the arrest warrant. And you don't have the right to lie about your location and, get somebody to write a letter about defamation when nothing is defamatory, especially by European standards. In America, defamation, like if you say something that's true about someone, but it hurts their livelihood and you did it maliciously, that is defamation sometimes. But in Europe, it has to be a lie. And there's not one thing we've told about them that's a lie. And when something is speculative, it's been stated as such. So they haven't been lied on by anyone, but they've done plenty of lying. So abundance. Being grossed out and revolted by pedophiles and incest is natural. It certainly is. It's very natural, actually. No one has to be taught that it comes natural. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, some of this bad behavior kind of got me on a rant. Okay, here we have someone saying, 11 in Europe is the age. So, yeah, they just want to inject their PDF scumbaggery into my chat to bug. But they helped me say some things that I think are really true. So, yeah. Yeah, most of us are on board with not wanting to get it on with young elementary school age children, especially not our own. Thank you very much. And yeah, so let me see if there was anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about. I was going to answer your questions, but you can't get any questions in with that going on. So, and there won't be any questions from people like that being answered because they are getting rid of them is the answer to the question. So yeah, it just makes you think about all of it. But this is what community is all about, and it's what social media ought to be about. Besides having fun and besides learning things, also rallying around things because it is interactive. And so do we want these people interacting and getting to dominate the landscape because of free speech, while other people who are trying to talk about things that corporations don't like jabs, or, NASA might not like your view on something that goes against them and people's support of giving them our tax dollars. So those are the things we're going to have a disclaimer about. But these PDFs and perverts and freaks and weirdos and Satanists, we're just going to pretend we don't see all of that, especially if it's something where we didn't act in a timely manner back in 2022. And I think that's also what another issue is that this corporation really doesn't want to fess up to anything. And that's why they want to go the route of acting like they're what they've done with a lot of these cases, and that's changing now because of so much of this kind of stuff going on with human trafficking, rape, child sex abuse, terrorism, stuff like that. That's changing with these new acts like the Protect Act, the Data Act, and all of that I've shown you guys. It's all changing, but what's going on right now is they want to act like a cell phone company. Like, we make phones and we can't be responsible for what's on every freaking phone. And there's some truth to that because initially a corporation can't act like law enforcement every 5 minutes, and they can't police everything a third-party creator says. Otherwise, you wouldn't even open a platform. The liability would be out the roof, because they could be responsible for that comment right there, or for someone getting online right now saying, I'm going to kill so-and-so, and they go do it. They can't be responsible to know that. But if you've had months and years of people telling you something and making you aware, and you're even involved in a court case where you're clearly aware, then money that Goatis Elections raises right now today, if it were to be used to harm anybody in this scenario or anybody in the world, they definitely knew what they were doing. And that's the kind of law. That's why these laws are being created even right now to combat that. Because yes, Section 230 can protect a platform in the way that they should be. They don't deserve to be held liable for stuff that they can't know about. And we want to have the freedom to talk and to have these platforms because we don't want them to have that kind of liability. But liability here with things like this, absolutely. And all we asked them to do, nobody's asked them for a dime, is to put a stop to it right now, because right now is when we know you know. But yeah, they want to keep it as much in that framework of Section 230. You can never come after us as they can. And that's what Clarence Thomas did in that case that was a couple years ago that I showed you, I think, in one stream a while back. So yeah, let's see. You forgot to make me a mod again. You have another troll here too. I'm sorry. Let me do that. I can't run the stream. Add as a moderator. There we go. I'm too busy talking. There you go. All right. Hopefully that worked. Abundance. Hard candy papa. No tour excuse was cope. And I made you a managing moderator too. Okay. Abundance. Cope, slave, pill, cope. What other online phrases? Yes, you are abundance. Coping hard. That's just another troll. What's she coping about? She's been a supporter of Diane since way back there. And she's also come up with some good activism. She got my petition under the Rotten Mango video and some other videos. So she's awesome. Earthseeker Ninja, did I miss it? Yeah, you missed mostly people trolling me. I had some very small updates. I also had a wonderful technical glitch where I think I was showing a black screen while I talked. So, but we got some interesting points across. So, yeah, if you want to watch this later, you'll get to see all of that. And I'll try to make the next stream less problematic as well. Maybe I'll have it be subs only. I don't want to ban you. I'm amused by this. Yeah, slave, copard, NPC. Oh, Milk Tea's birthday girl. So for anyone tuning in that doesn't know, Milk Tea is something that the trolls were all calling themselves in the beginning of my channel, and they were going to all the parody channels. But when I started my channel, I got this influx of pedophilic trolls, and Milk Tea Princess. There was some guy who apparently was like a pro pedo. There's an entire community of these freaks, basically, and it's linked in with Goatis. So, there was this Milk Tea guy, and I don't know if he had a bunch of bots, but these are them, and they write filthy things about getting it on with 11-year-olds and all of this other kind of filth. So, that's what that's about. And what's terrifying about this, and people ought to realize, I just saw something the other day about a television show called Dance Moms, which was bad enough. If you know anything about that show, my little cousins were really into it. And I saw a couple episodes, and it's like a super abusive teacher teaching girls these dance routines for competitions, and they're all inappropriate. They're half naked. And turns out a guy that worked as a choreographer there was a pedo, and he was convicted, and he had some, they had very hardcore evidence. It wasn't just like a rumor. It was, this guy really was abusing children. And so there are networks of people like this online, and Goatis and Jazz have had them on their pages. Goatis's whole thing on Telegram, there's a whole community of them, minor attracted persons, maps, and they want to normalize this stuff. But yet they come over here trying to look like traditionalist family people while mixing that in. It's the sickest thing you'll ever see in your life. But yeah, they have this thing about wanting to groom someone, around the age of 12, and it be a stepchild or a child of yours, and then marry them. These are the people we're having to combat, getting off of social media and away from raising funds to murder Diane's son and her. And I'm being fought against. I even had to, because I showed Diane's wounds on one of my videos, I had to take a course to make YouTube a safe place again. So you better believe, back around December, January, I was super pissed because I foolishly held out hope that there would be like some, the lady that is representing YouTube and Google has a civil rights background. So I thought maybe there's some modicum of hope with this investigation, because they know that I don't want to make them have any trouble with money or anything like that. I just want them to do the action. No. So, and then when I realized how far they were going to go, they weren't even going to acknowledge that he was ban evading. That was really disgusting to me. And she lied in court in front of the judge about even some of that by saying that they said that if I wouldn't go back on some of these things that I'm wanting them to do, that they couldn't really negotiate. And I said, I went back on everything but deplatforming the one person that's already been previously deplatformed, and you won't even acknowledge that. So what else was I supposed to take off the table? So they're very dishonest. It is hurtful to see that if you're the type of person that gets incensed about like lying and dishonorable behavior. It is really hard to take, but then you kind of regroup and you're like, in a way, it pumps me up a little more because it's like we're the righteous in this situation, you know. Milk tea, come back with a less creepy username. Well, they want you to know it's them. That's part of their horrify program. Marina is old and used up, knocked up by other men. LOL. Indeed. Primal Bell is a grandma and is so old and gross. Okay, I'm back. Are you ready for a real convo now, or just being slaves? Yeah. Slaves to what? I mean, let's see. Marina Abdullah has had multiple surgeries on her face. Marina Abdullah worked as a model in a car magazine. I thought cars were for slaves. Goatis Langston certainly rides around in them while mommy drives him. So yeah, let's see what else. Spending thousands of dollars that was supposed to be to see your son. A little bit of it to go get your baby killed because those people they were willing to do that for very little money, by the way. That's what kind of people they were. And then the rest of it's to get hair plugs. So you're that concerned about your hair. Who's a slave here? You know? Let's see. Marina has multiple kids with multiple men, and she's really old and used up, which is why Goatis likes her so much. Goatis likes old and used up hags. Abundance. I'm ready to be schooled on more internet lingo. You're dishonest and you pretend girls don't want love. Such nice people. Real convo, LOL, indeed. We can tell you're very sensitive, but more patient than any of us. Thank you, Earth Secret Agent. And you've done some awesome activism of your own, and I appreciate that. And yeah, I am overly sensitive. Well, maybe not overly. I think anybody should be sensitive to this stuff. And I'm pretty patient, yeah. But at the same time, I got a little, frustrated and feely about it. I had to get away from it for a little while because it does get to you a little bit. I'm not talking about Goatis. I'm talking about age. Yeah, you need to go, Mind Virus. Get your crazy ass out of here. Because I'm not interested in assisting with your bullshit. Thank you. For lack of a better way to put it. Goatis makes the same video every day like a slave. Indeed. Yeah, how many videos are you going to make in your lifetime? And, even if YouTube were to let Goatis be here for the rest of his life, running scams to commit terroristic crime with his hag, like how many videos are people going to watch of him telling men that they are not as attractive as him? And 9 times out of 10, they are healthier and more attractive, but, and that he didn't like what someone had for breakfast. How interesting is that going to be in the next 10 years? I remember Jake saying something to this effect in one of his videos, and it's the truth. How long can you do that for? You know what I mean? Goatis makes boring videos every day just for money because he is a hypocritical slave. Goatis makes YouTube videos he doesn't enjoy making because he's a slave for a paycheck. Indeed. And he buys views and wears a wig. Yep. And yeah, I mean, in that family, it's not just the woman putting on a fake face and wearing wigs and whatnot. The guy, I mean, I'd imagine that his closet is filled with more, pancake makeup and wig glue and whatnot than her side of the closet. Pizza Planet, we know where we're going with that. I'm done. Abundance claimed to want a real convo, but clearly doesn't. Yeah, well, nobody wants a real convo on my channel about your views on getting it on with your own kids and your weird pedo names. So go have your pizza fun somewhere else, like on Prussian's blog. Grind King. He also reviews videos he doesn't even like. True waste of time. Indeed. And, but, he's got a very flat personality, and that's why, Jake's channel being watched, it's hard to even keep up with what Goatis is doing by watching Goatis because he's so unwatchable. So, like, people, even back before these crimes were committed, we'd just go watch Jake because it would be a funny version of keeping up with what's going on, some personality there. It's because, the dead fish eye guy. And by the way, what happened to Milk Jar? One has to wonder, but that was the first person apparently to do the ex-vegan review vids. And I saw him on something interacting with Diane and some other people, and he had an actual personality, even if I didn't agree with everything he said. But I could see him having had a successful channel, but Goatis copying him managed to do it. But it would have been way more fun and successful with someone with a personality. So yeah, the guy is a bore, and that comes with being evil. Evil people are boring. You know, they're very superficial. And it's kind of funny because his thing of going into the forest and philosophizing when, you know, he's about as deep as a kid's wading pool. He's not deep at all. You know, and the videos reflect that now. That's why that's the real guy now. In a way, you know, we're talking about it as it's like not content that he really wants to do. That may be true because he would like to pretend to be something he's not, but this is who he actually is. He really can't make content that's about anything because he can't go out and get a milk jar to help him figure anything out anymore. He's off alone with Marina and they're dumb. So the content's retarded. And that's why. So yeah, he can't stream, so he makes the same boring videos. You can tell he doesn't really enjoy it, says Jake. Yep, indeed. His vids will keep being interesting if he's on YouTube, but there will always be the ignorant 1% of his views to pay his ways, 4 months, then repeat. But other platforms will not be big enough for that. Indeed, yeah. And he wasn't directing people to Rumble. And he put on this little sad face, and I think it was supposed to be like, oh, these people are lying on me and getting my videos taken down, and you might have to go to Rumble. I can make a little money. And also he might have thought I'd, you know, get on a big kick to go after Rumble, which I'm not right now at all. So that needs to be the least of his problems because, you know, once the bulk of the money, especially the Telegram money, is removed and the crypto exchanges, you know, no longer help and use that to track him, and a net, that running faucet of constant money possibly that's been going their way gets cut off. That'll be, you know, they really, that's why this bothers them so much that they're willing to go to these lengths of harassing my little videos. They started it on my channel when it had like 200 subs and it only still has in the 470s, and they go after it as though it were a huge problem to them. And part of that is their, like Diane touched on Machismo's comment section, part of that is their out of whack ego. They really are butthurt about you talking about their hair. Here they are killers, but they really probably would go just as nuts about you talking about their hair. And they don't want any videos like that out there. But they really are worried about what I'm doing, or they wouldn't have cared that much after a while. So yeah. Buttons. Goatis is a slave to Google, indeed. And Grand King, he isn't acquiring any skills, just YouTube money, probably working for the hourly wage of a prisoner in a Chinese camp. He had a job at one time, I heard, for a little while, and then a net happened when he was put in a mental hospital, and met her there and saw a perfect victim. And I do have to wonder about her parents, like what kind of parents would have allowed that? I really don't know. And who is protecting her? But he's also Belle's slave because she isn't working. Indeed. We were having a real combo. He won't make much on Rumble. Rumble sucks. Rumble does suck. And I put some videos up there and put, like, same I did here with the username, you know, Sv3rige Goatis, Primal Bell parody. So they would, when you look him up now on Rumble, like the third or fourth one that comes up is me, Sv3rige Baby Mama. So with some videos about what he's actually done. So, but yeah, I don't care to waste too much time on it, but just to help have people have an alternative thing to see if they do go there. Barely legal milk tea. And see, even calling yourself barely legal, it shows that you just want to horrify and bother other people. Hidden immediately, not even going to read that. So spend your time writing a, you know, paragraph long thing, but ain't nobody reading it. Abundance. I mean, Goatis could have some wealthy donors. Who knows? He's a slave to them too. Yeah, the Eichels are interesting, and that's what myself and another activist have been talking about. And they actually made me aware because I hadn't thought about it very much. But, you know, now knowing that Marina's background really looks pretty crime-tastic, possibly, you know, she's on a website like that. And like that person pointed out to me, who would be willing so quickly to go into this level of criminality? Who? You know, not very many people. So that leads me to believe that her connections, not just to the Abdullahs, who obviously are too stupid to even set a fire without setting themselves on fire, which is good. That helped us find them. But her family, the Eichels, might be very well connected up crime family for all we know. They could be connected to anything. So, okay. I mean, Goatis could have, yeah, Earth's secret agent. I'm guessing you committed to this case when you found out about the daughter. How long have you known of Goatis? Oh, that's a good question. So back in 2019, and I talked about this on another stream, I had heard of him when I was thinking about going vegan because I'd been a vegetarian for like a decade. And, you know, and I'm allergic to eggs. So I was like, okay, eggs are super fun to eat and I can't eat them anyway. So maybe I'll give it all up, you know. And then I thought, what in the hell? Your dinners are going to be pretty terrible because I do love dairy, you know. So I found one video naysaying veganism, which was his video reviewing Monami Frost. And I agreed with some of what he said, but then in the course of saying all that, he started talking about crazy shit like he does. But the thing is, crazy shit exists, like the evil elites drinking blood is what he was talking about. But he talked about it like it was a good thing. So that made me do a little dive into his videos. And, you know, I found some of the other stuff, the stuff on the beach about is incest natural and all this other weird stuff. And then you'd say things you agree with that make sense, you know, about coffee or something. And then in another video, it would be about why aren't we eating babies, you know? So it's just really bizarre. And I was a follower of it for it being bizarre. But then you do wonder, you know, is this person play acting? Is this person doing this for YouTube? And that's what he is trying to do. Some of what he's trying to do now, a lot of it is that. Of course, they will deny being these sock puppets. And then they will say things like, oh, I was just kidding, or he was just kidding. But they're not kidding at all. And his body of work and current work on Telegram show that. But yeah, so they weren't kidding at all. And that was obvious after you started seeing him with Diane. And you could start to see his behavior in live streams with her. And then the situation where she was beaten up. And it looked like she was under duress in the video about it. So everybody's thinking the same thing. Did he do this? And he did. And it was so much even worse than that. So he was so much not play acting when he said those crazy things that, you know, and it's just a shame that something more wasn't done sooner. And that's part of why they're fighting me so hard on this. They know it should have been. Yeah, she does look like Michael Jackson. Sorry if I missed some of these comments. Yeah, they're not triggering, are they? Yeah. Goatis has a very extremely teeny PP. Jazz has confirmed. Yep. He wins the teeny PP award. He does indeed. And, you know, that's probably the only award he'll ever get in his life. He also wants the Copycat Award because, you know, and we all find inspiration somewhere, but he hasn't had an original, you know, endeavor or thought in his life, apparently, because everything he's done was done by somebody else and done better. So, yeah. Hi, Gaseous Snake. Good to see you. And you're another one that's done some great work. And I know for a while, Prussian was attacking you. We've had an influx of that here in my chat. And also, I know about all the wonderful activism that you've done and their attempt to get your videos and all of our videos taken down while they squawk about free speech. They come here screaming and bitching and moaning and hysterical about their free speech rights while they try to get videos just about real stuff like real warrants, real film footage of Diane being attacked, real footage of her wounds taken off the internet. Earth Secret Agent, what? Gaseous on Alive? Yeah. Yeah, this ended up being really good. You know, it's kind of funny how stuff just jars you to start talking. Because, yeah, I had very little planned just to kind of let you guys know what was going on. And all that trolling just made me start thinking about all the crap that they've done and all the stuff that we're combating and what's been good and bad about it all, you know, because it'll be Jake's had his channel for like 4 years or something. And other people have been doing this a while. And then I'll have been doing what I'm doing for about a year when we get to June. So and we'll go further than that. It just won't be this like constant grind. But I'll keep this channel open as long as we have activism to do on this. So, oh, and there's also something that hasn't been resolved yet that I touched on in the other stream related to the case that I will touch on in a complete way when I can. So I was expecting it to be done by now. It's why I pushed this out so far, but it wasn't. I'm a mod on Jake's channel. Awesome. Yeah. Gaseous is usually the most reclusive. Yeah. Yeah, you don't see him very often. So I am honored. Thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions, I can answer them because I kind of ran out of things to talk about exactly in a planned kind of way or anything like that. And we've stopped being trolled a bit, which is good, but I'm no longer being like inspired to think up something to say. So if anybody doesn't have anything, yeah, I'll just wrap it up here in a bit. I don't want to keep people too long, but Gaseous just got here. Gaseous, you want to say anything? I hope you and everybody goes to ends up going to the Machismo on the 23rd, that video, and we'll all support that premiere video. Forsaken Agent, gotcha. Free speech for girls, peons. Yeah, he's back. They don't really have very much going on. Writing weird, perverted filth online under 5 million accounts is their life. And this is why they don't work, I guess, because you can't exactly, and they don't have any hobbies or any talents. You notice none of them play any instruments. Like Jake plays the bass. Nobody, in their little camp knows how to do a damn thing. Marina is even a subpar model. So, yeah, you can't really do anything and spend your whole life trying to freak people out with your pedo content on your sock puppet accounts on live streams of people that have like 400 and something subs. You just can't juggle all of that, can you? I can do a guitar solo. Oh yeah, well, let's hear it. Let's hear you do anything other than weird pedo talk. I'll bet you do. I'll bet you play piano. Yes, Jake is a good bass player. Yeah. We see what you're good at. And you're not very good at it, by the way. And that's something we could talk about. They're not good at their endeavors to horrify and abuse people. If somebody like me can make it clear what they're doing. Jazz was the best at gaslighting her audience, but she's not good at it, not good enough to fool me. And Catherine is just a batshit insane, as Jake says, tard muffin. So we have that. And and then Gaddis and Prussian. Really, it's such a Keystone Cops situation that these people haven't been stopped because they're not good at what they're doing. And we have an abundance of evidence. Yeah. You're just trying to control the narrative. Well, I do control the narrative. It's my channel. So, if you were here to do anything good, you'd be doing it. I actually care about girls' freedom. Yeah, we know where you're going with that. Girls' freedom to have, to be abused sexually by Goatis is not where we're going to go. So you're gone. Unlike you. Yeah. Yeah, a young girl who's grown who wants to get married to a man that's not related to her, good for her, if it's her choice. That's what normal people are about. Grind King 88, that is his main income. Indeed. How many slave subscribers does his Telegram pay to watch channel I have at the moment? I don't know. And that's going to be one of the tricky things. It's why I'm getting help with doing that case, because it's behind a paywall and I'm not paying Pedal Boy a dime to see what he's doing over there. So, but the $500 a month paywall is insane. And so, yeah, I know that his sub count have been really dropping. And that is his main income. So in a way, that would be more important than this case. But if this case sort of sets up a precedent for the next one, that'll be good. And Telegram is way more evasive at answering you, responding to service and whatnot. So, that'll be more challenging, but not impossible. The courts there are better, I would say, in the way they handle things than the ones in California. And really amenable to protecting the person bringing the case and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I hope I have good news on that. So yeah, that was really all I had. I appreciate everybody showing up. And of course, we'll try to iron out the kinks for next time, and I'll have more info. But I haven't made content in a while. I took a little break from looking at some of this stuff. And I also had to draft some things, emotion that I'll talk about later. And then the thing that I just showed you, the case law about at the beginning of the stream, that's basically completed. And yeah, other than that, we're going to get kind of a break here. And during that break, though, I do want to compile some things and make some content for you based on that, and some quality content that can be used to keep raising awareness. And it'll be less grueling, when you're, and also my attitude's different, which helps. It's less grueling when you're not battling them in court at the moment. And the way the judge responded to me helped the way I feel a lot. And just going through that process and seeing that I don't have to be, as intimidated by them as I was. Because even though I'm in the right, it is an intimidating situation. It's like a rattlesnake sniping at you, and you're, there, and they seem to have the whole system stacked against you. And it's like a team of something toxic, and you're battling them, and they don't want to hear what you have to say. It sets up a dynamic in your mind of, it's kind of a negative situation. So the judge really was what a judge ought to be. And that really helped me feel better about what's going on and the possibility of the right outcome occurring. But regardless, knowing that it's a righteous fight and we get this seen, at least with regard to a written record of it, forever because of what we're doing. So that's awesome. And what we've done for the not victim, but survivor in the case, Diane, and her son by rallying around her like we would want if it was us. So, yeah, that is his main income, at least in the USA. Earth Secret Agent, for having under 500 subs, you do great. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. You mean me. I was getting confused about the combo. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I get a good bit of response for having a small channel. And this is a niche channel. And that's another thing too, like it's so great that this has moved out of this niche market that like people that knew of Diane already and knew what he did already into like Rotten Mango and that ginormous, crowd, and into first Victor with True Crime, his Crimes Anatomy channel. That was wonderful. But then Rotten Mango, that's amazing because that's 2 million people now. And when I put that link to the petition and they headed over there, some of them are Google shareholders, and that was one of the things I said to the judge, and he was very much listening to that, because we have rights as consumers of these products, and that's, believe it or not, even though this is a case about people and children, consumer rights is a huge part of it. Almost might go further in, illustrating the point, which is sad to say, but there's so much that ties into this. The more you dig and the more you realize, Do you have any other pros to reassure your work? Do you at least share with others in the legal world? So Amber Davies from the Justice Defense Fund was the one that reached out to her legal team for the amicus brief, but she didn't have any legal expertise or anything, so we didn't confer about anything. And it was only really after I did everything that I had somebody talk to me about it, and they pointed out what they thought was a really good angle. But then they, because of conflict, they couldn't represent me. So then I'm going to be working with someone else. But so far, no, everything that I've done's been me. But of course, in doing research, that's like conferring with people who have done this before, basically. So, but yeah, that will be great having some of that help. Because to me, it's just procedural is what I was more worried about, even than doing good research on case law and statutes and stuff. So yeah, his output rate on spam level makes me think he is running out of money. Good, I hope he is. Pregnancy age rights, here come the pedos again. So yeah, hidden, bye-bye. Okay, so if anybody has anything else, I'll stick around for a bit longer, but I had something I was going to do, so I didn't want this to run too terribly long or to keep people. I'm glad it ended up being able to be, oddly enough, because of these scumbags making you think about stuff you could say and people showing up wanting to chat, it made it a little more interesting. Earth Secret Agent. Okay, that is the idea of what I thought. Yes, great stuff. Yep. So I hope to have some good news. I will be giving them that on Wednesday. It's due Friday. And then, and when I get all that squared away with the lawyer, I can talk about that and with that other thing. But, and then I'll just be having some content for you here and there too, some good content. Please go support Luna on Patreon. Please go support Luna on her GoFundMe. And please support all the parody channels and go support at Machismo Fitness on the 23rd for the premiere video that he's doing. And I appreciate you being here. If it works on Google, how about Telegram? Yeah, if it works on Google, how about Telegram? So the same things apply right now, but absolutely, if anything here is new and sets precedent, it would be used in the Telegram case. And then Jake says, I am doing a stream in an hour on my Jake the A-hole channel. It's about the astronauts returning from the fake station, if anyone is interested in that. Yep, go check out Jake the Asshole's channel. So he's doing a stream in 1 hour, so that'll be at 8 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock, what do you call it, North, South, East, West, Western Time, and 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Alrighty, thank you guys for being here, and I appreciate it very much. And thanks to my mods for dealing with that ridiculous trash. And I appreciated seeing you here, and we will see Justice for Luna in 2025. Have a good one. Bye-bye.